everyone, this is Robert Aldana with the My Scotts Valley Facebook page at facebook.com/My Scotts Valley. I have with me Chris Perry, who happens to be the founder of Apple Homes. And Chris, how you doing today?
Good, Robert. Good to be out here.
I'm happy to have you here. You have a lot to talk about today. We're going to try to cram this in about like 6 to 8 minutes at the most. But there's a pretty popular topic going on right now. You are the founder of Apple Homes, about some new construction that's going to be built on Scotts Valley Drive, actually right across the street from the middle school.
Correct.
Not those older homes that are on the corner by Maya's, because people seem to think that that's where it is.
Right.
It's actually on the other side of the middle school. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But tell me a little bit about yourself, Chris. You've been a builder here for quite some time.
Yes.
With Apple Homes. First of all, how did you come up with the name of Apple?
We were looking for something. Most of the homes we've built in the past are quite traditional, and we were looking for something that was as American as apple pie.
All right.
So just jumped out. It's like kind of like when you form a band.
All right.
Try to come up with the names. You write a bunch of stuff down. So.
And it works.
And it works
and
sometimes.
It's worked so far.
And its name's been fine.
And you've actually built some homes, quite a few homes here in Scotts Valley. So tell me a little bit about a couple of your projects that you've built.
We've done 3 different neighborhoods along with many individual houses in Scotts Valley. We've got the Torrey Oaks neighborhood, the Sherman Court neighborhood, the Meadow at Falcon Ridge neighborhood. Mm-hmm. That's the one you can see from Highway 17 along Green Hills Road there.
Excellent.
That went up during the housing crash, and
yeah.
People thought we were crazy. But it worked out. It's a beautiful neighborhood.
Fantastic. And you also have a lot of involvement with the water district, I understand.
Yes.
You've been tell us a little bit about that.
I've been on the board of directors of the Scotts Valley Water District since 2006.
All right. It's almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you have, in my opinion, you have a vested interest in our community. I mean, you live in the area, you do business in the area, you volunteer in the area.
I'm president of the Exchange Club right now in Scotts Valley.
Is that right?
Yep.
See, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling me that.
Sure.
Folks, we're going to touch base on quite a few questions a lot of people have had. And I'll tell you what, these questions have been, I think, excellent questions, and people have been asking what's going to happen when they build these homes, and quite a few people have been very vocal on the My Scotts Valley Facebook page and have asked some really intriguing ones, so we're going to go ahead and get to it. You ready to go?
Yep.
All right, let's get going with question number 1. So one of the questions that people have is, how many homes are you going to be building?
There's going to be 20 homes up here. It fits the zoning. Actually, we could build 22, but when you're trying to fit a project together, we always think about neighborhood impact. And I've been talking to the neighbors up here for years, the ones actually just adjoining, about this project. We've gone through various iterations of the project, and I think one of the more sensitive spots is at the far end of the subdivision, so we could have shoehorned a couple more in, but there's a particular family up there that we're trying to take care of, and so we eliminated a unit at that end and didn't put the next one in. So we have 20 that are pulled north as we could get them. So that's how we ended up with 20, and it's a little under the zoning, but we're just happy to have 20 great units as opposed to 22 when there causes issues.
Fantastic. Let's get to the next question.
Okay.
What is going to be the price point of these townhouses?
Well, I wish I knew, and you never know in this
Right.
business, unfortunately, because then you could plan and then you wouldn't worry so much. I'd sleep at night, Robert.
Worry? What's that?
But, it's a range. You always have to look at it as a range.
Yes.
So I'm thinking the range is between 600 and 700,000. 700 is definitely the upper end of the range.
Right.
And anything can change.
I guess it's really going to depend. And this is a question that a few people have asked, but really the fact is you can't really give that answer until you find out what's going on with the market over the next couple of years when these are built, right?
Exactly.
When's the beginning of the construction for these properties?
The earliest it would begin would be next summer, and it might not even be that early. So
the earliest would be next summer of 2016 for those who are watching this in 2015.
Exactly. We've had this property since 2004. So we've never been in a huge rush to build it. We've wanted to do it right, and I think we're getting there. I think we got a project I know I'll be proud of, and I think will be a great asset to Scotts Valley.
Excellent. Let's go on to the next question. How many of these homes are going to be affordable housing type units?
15% as mandated by the city. and that is generated by a formula that the housing authority comes up with.
Okay.
So
15% being two
will
properties.
Be free.
Or three properties.
Free.
I'm sorry, my math is
There you
out. Without my iPhone, it's hard for me to calculate
Yeah,
anything.
exactly.
What's wrong with me here? Okay, so there's going to be three of them, three affordable houses.
Correct.
All right, let's go on to the next question. With our town and our state being in the current water crisis that it is, okay, how are you preparing as a builder to be able to accommodate 20 more families with the water situation that we have?
So this is the one I think the most about because of my association. And so look at it in three different ways. The big macro view is that the plan in Scotts Valley is to build what's called an advanced treatment component to our current recycled water, okay? So it would turn it into water that would be injectable into the ground.
Okay.
So the long-term plan is to recover the aquifer by taking the recycled water and injecting it into the ground, and that water that gets advanced treated is way cleaner than any water that ever comes out of the river, and it is treated beyond the level of what you would ever imagine as recycled water. It's totally drinkable.
Okay.
But instead of trying to use it as potable water, we're going to inject it back into the ground. And in the course, our studies show in the course of 20 to 30 years, we can make a complete recovery of the aquifer, which is amazing. And
it's really interesting what you showed me, because if you get an opportunity, folks, you could take a look at some of their plans and stuff that they're doing. It's pretty amazing some of the steps that you and many other builders are taking nowadays to be able to accommodate the type of water situation that we have, and also not only just accommodate, but the fact is there's a lot of all the new builders are pretty much looking at the water situation, say let's not waste the water. If you put it all on, let the water all dry on the concrete floor, there's actual ways for the water to seep back in to the environment.
Right, on our project level we address that, but in the big picture level, anyone that builds a new home in Scotts Valley pays an impact fee, and it's quite hefty. We have the most expensive water meters in the county, and I always have voted for that and have voted to make them even higher.
Okay.
Because that money that we collect is what's going to pay for that advanced treatment plan. We could do this and put it on the backs of the ratepayers, but instead we're going to put it on the backs of the people that are building new homes in Scotts Valley, and that's an appropriate thing to the impact that they are causing now, even though we're all part of the impact. But this is a perfect time to get some money out of new development. It does put price pressure on the cost of development, so that's a tough thing, but that's just the way it works. You got to mitigate what you're doing. As a project, we have our whole road bed, about 12,000 square feet of road, is permeable pavers with storage underneath.
Okay.
Right? And so all the water runs through those pavers, which cleans the water, and then it goes back into the storage under the pavers, and it'll perk back into the ground, because the lower part of the subdivision where the road is going to be is pretty sandy. The top part is all granite. The bottom part's nice and sandy, so we'll be able to perk a 10-year storm, which is a storm you only get once every 10 years, we'll be able to hold that on site.
Okay, so you're not putting any added pressure or giving a big impact on our water situation like this, correct?
Well, in terms of keeping the rain out of the ground, we are actually improving the situation.
Right.
Certainly.
So it's not a strain, it's an improvement.
Yes.
Okay, got
We're
it.
also providing a rain barrel for every house, every unit in the back of a rain barrel, and the water-saving fixtures that we're using are high efficiency, beyond the amount that's needed or mandated by the state or by the local.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, let's go on to the next question. What's the traffic situation going to be like when you have this particular property? The only way to get into the entrance of this, as it's planned at the moment, is really coming from Mount Hermon, right? So,
correct.
So how is that being planned out? What's your thoughts on increased traffic flow that we're going to have in this area?
Well, obviously, you always do a traffic study, and we did a traffic study, and we had it peer reviewed to make sure it was accurate, because this is a sensitive topic. We looked at a number of different ways of entering the property, because it's a very challenging property in terms of grade, right, and how we make this all work out. It's always a balance. problem with trying to align the subdivision to the current intersection on Bean Creek, there's a lot of problems with it, but one of the biggest was it would make us close a lane on Scotts Valley Drive in the southbound direction to create a turn lane.
Okay.
Right now there's 3 lanes that go through and they turn into 4 on the other side of Bean Creek. So nobody really was for closing a lane on Scotts Valley Drive. I'm certainly not for that. So the way we did it is the current curb cut that you see out here now that has a dirt road leading into this project is where the entrance is going to be. And it's going to be like a lot of other development on Scotts Valley Drive where there is no intersection and you just have to go out and make a U-turn when you can, or go out and go the direction that you're headed.
So here's the issue though.
Yes.
We're only talking about 20 families. We're only talking about 20 homes. So it's not like all 20 of these people are going to be coming and going at the same time, right?
And we've put this project centrally located, good pedestrian access at both ends of the subdivision. We're hoping that people do as much walking. We're hoping that young people come here, professionals, buy these places, who find jobs in town. Walk right down Scotts Valley Drive, and you're working at one of the high-tech firms or one of the many companies that are right there. That's the beauty of doing infill like this. Remember, these lots this is infill. This is not something that was zoned to be open space. This was something that was planned and zoned to be medium density housing.
Okay, excellent. Let's go on to the next question. In this particular development, there's quite a few homes that are behind there, which is actually, several homes if you look at it from this particular angle, which would be Scotts Valley Heights.
Right.
There's been a couple of questions and some concerns by some of the owners in the area, and I'm sure you've talked to quite a few of them already, but some of the questions that come our way on the My Scotts Valley Facebook pages: what's going to happen to the stability of our homes once these homes are built? Is this going to make it much more susceptible to a landslide? What's your answer to that?
Well, we do very little grading in the back of the subdivision where it backs up to the homes.
Okay.
Try to keep it as far away as we can, and it, as I said before, the top part of the subdivision, which is the area closest to the homes here, is where the granite is. So it's very stable geologically, and you have that studied by a geotechnical engineer, and would never dream of building something that would cause any slope instability. I mean, that would be suicidal.
That'd be
it
catastrophic.
would be just
But people have the question though, because they don't know, and that's the cool thing about asking questions.
Yes.
Is you get 2 answers, right?
Yes, absolutely, totally legitimate.
All right, the next question. Next question that we have is, people are asking, how is this going to impact my views for those of you who live in the Scotts Valley Heights area and are going to be directly behind this development? How will this impact the views of other homeowners that live in this area?
Well, just quickly, on Scotts Valley Drive, we're leaving all of the oak trees that rim the property.
Okay.
And we're just cutting out all the acacias, which are an invasive species that have to be removed. So, for the most part, from Scotts Valley Drive, you won't really see the project so much on Mount Herman Road or at the intersection of Mount Herman Road and Scotts Valley Drive. The only part that will be exposed until the landscaping grows up is the area across from the middle school, like the first block of houses, because there's almost all acacias in there.
Right.
So on everything else, as I said before, also with the people behind, we designed the subdivision with them in mind. The backs of the units are 2-story.
Right.
They only total about 22 feet in height, which is well under the 35-foot height limit. And we did that on purpose. A, we're building into the hillside, and B, it enables the other houses to see over the top of us. As you get to the southern end, the houses are less, in the ground, and that's why we kept the houses at the southern end less. We actually don't do housing all the way out to the end, so we minimize the impact on the last house on the southern end. It's always a balance. We did the absolute best we could. As I said, we could have had 22 units. We went with 20 because you're just, as someone who lives here, you don't want to create an impact on any individual. And everyone's not going to be 100% happy but we have the support of many of the people on the uphill side.
Fantastic. Last question. There's a lot of talk about there being a lot of homes built in Scotts Valley. How many homes actually have been built, new homes in Scotts Valley in the past 10 years?
You know, I don't have an exact count, but
Approximately.
Gosh, it couldn't be more than 100.
Agreed.
Couldn't have been. Has to be. You know, if you take Town Center Homes, you take what we did, the Meadow at Falcon Ridge, that was 16.
The homes on
Woodside,
yeah.
up there. You know, you're probably getting to right around 100 in a decade.
Yeah.
That's you know, and the interesting thing from a water perspective, again, since the peak in 2004, we have been using consistently less water, not even counting the drought conservation that you all have done, and that's just been awesome. We use 30% water, less water than we did in 2004 today. So even with the growth, the water use is going down, so we are mitigating in that way too.
So in the past 10 years, there's been a growth of new homes. Sorry, these bugs are here. We're in an area where they're all over the place. In the past 10 years, I know, in the past 10 years, there's been roughly 100, maybe 110 homes built. So that equates to just over 10 homes per year that have been built in the Scotts Valley area. And I don't see, I mean, I know there's going to be some other new homes that are going to be built, or the homes that are going to be built by the Polo Ranch.
Polo Ranch.
Yeah, and a couple of different developments, but nothing really too spectacular in terms of the amount of homes that are going to be built, right?
Well, you know, the city has growth planned. Growth is mandated from the state level. There's a state agency called AMBAG that actually goes to local agencies and says, you know, how much are you going to grow? You need to grow this much, and if you don't grow this much, we're going to withhold funding from you. So, you know, there's reasons to grow, and there's responsible ways to grow, and Scotts Valley has a little more growth left in it. It's not like there's going to be, you know, going to double the size of Scotts Valley or even 25% bigger. I think Scotts Valley has some growth to finish up, and I think we're doing it. I think generally the city's been doing it in a responsible way, and I know that that's our goal always.
I lied to you.
Yes.
One more question. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
I'm
sorry for lying.
That's okay. I always keep myself available for any questions. You know, when you live in the town you build in, you have to be part of the community. And I will talk to anybody at any time. I'd be happy to have Robert give my phone number out, my cell phone. If you want to meet with me, if you want to talk with me, I will make myself available. I know everyone's not going to be happy with everything that everybody does, but the more informed I can make you about this particular project, the better, I think, and I'd just be happy to do it.
Fantastic. Folks, that is Chris Perry, the founder of Apple Homes, giving us the scoop on what's going on with the new development across the street from the middle school. And I really appreciate, Chris, that you took the time to get a hold of me. Folks, you got to realize this, that when we published the story at the beginning, one of our My Scotts Valley friends had sent me a text about it, so we kind of put it out there and people were talking about it. Within 24 hours, Chris was already emailing me and saying, hey, I'd love to talk to whoever has any questions, whoever wants to talk to me about it, so I appreciate that, sir.
You know, things have changed.
Yeah.
It used to be just going to the neighbors, and I've always done that, was enough, but nowadays you got to reach out in other ways, and I thank you for having an opportunity for everybody in Scotts Valley to get together on that side.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, just post them right here on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/My Scotts Valley right underneath this video. And we'll put some information out there too if you want to get a hold of Chris Perry. He's a heck of a nice guy and willing to talk to you if you have any questions. Now here's one thing that I wanted to just kind of say real quickly. And we had gotten a post and somebody said, hey, just because he's a nice guy, it doesn't make it okay and all fine and dandy. And I totally agree with that, 100%. I think what we're looking for is we're looking for people who are vested in our community, who are doing things in our community, you know, the best way possible. There's always going to be change. There's always going to be growth. Okay, the day that you stop growing is the day that we start perishing. That's really the truth of it all. So I thank Chris again. I thank all of you for your awesome questions, your comments. And you know what? If you got questions, we'll get the answers for you. Thank you for participating, and thank you for being a part of the My Scotts Valley community. Have a super day.